you've been paying attention to the news lately, you know that a girl named Gabby Petito was found dead after she went on a trip with her fiance, Brian Laundrie, and everyone suspected that he had done it, but now they found his skeletal remains as well, and people are a bit confused. So let's go back to the beginning of the story. Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie were an engaged couple that decided to go on a trip around the US on her white Ford van. The girl kept in touch with her family regularly, but she stopped her communication abruptly at the end of August. On August 12th, the couple was approached by the police in Utah as they seemed to be having an altercation. Allegedly, they got into a physical fight after an argument, and the police told them to stay apart for that night. The officer who wrote the report said there was no indication of domestic assault, and it seemed like a case of a mental health issue. However, that day, a 911 call was made by a driver who was driving by, and he wanted to report a case of domestic dispute. The caller said that the man had slapped and hit the woman and described a white Ford van with a Florida license plate just like theirs. On August 27th, people claimed they saw the couple involved in a commotion in a restaurant. Petito was in tears and Laundrie was clearly angry. He was being hostile to the staff. He was coming in and out of the restaurant. He seemed very nervous. By the end of August is where things get more complicated. On August 24th, the girl FaceTimed her mom, saying they were headed to Teton Range in Wyoming. The next day, she exchanges texts with her family, and the last time her mother ever hears from her is through a text sent on August the 30th, but the family really has some doubts about this text message because they believe it was not sent by her. In the beginning of September, a woman came forward and said that she and her boyfriend picked up Brian on August 29th while he was hitchhiking. He said that he had been camping for multiple days while Gabby was in the van working on her social media posts since she was a blogger. But when he realized they were driving to Jackson Hole and not Jackson, he got really nervous and asked to leave the car abruptly. It was very weird. After that, a seasonal Wyoming resident claimed that she had picked up Brian where the previous couple had left him on the same day, and she took him to the Spread Creek dispersed camping area where Petito's remains were later found. On September 1st, Brian drove back home without Gabby, which is quite strange. He returned to the house where they both lived along with his parents, and Gabby was nowhere to be seen. I think this is the strangest thing, like, how can you come home after a trip with your fiance and come back without her and not say anything? He didn't report her as a missing person or anything like that. It's all very strange. On September 11th, Petito's family reported her as a missing person to the police. The Laundries were contacted by the police, but they did not give out any information, and they told them to call their lawyer. And I've seen many cases, and when people are usually telling the truth and they are innocent, they don't ask for a lawyer straight away. So this is also kind of strange to me. The family begged them to help them find Gabby, but they didn't hand out any information. The police didn't know if Brian had done something or what Brian knew or what he didn't know. However, her van was taken by the police, and they said to the media that they had found some materials inside. On September 17th, Laundrie's family called the police to report Brian as a missing person. They had not seen him since September 14th, when he went out for a hike. The police was now looking for both Gabby and Brian, as they were two missing people. On September 19th, the police found some human remains in Teton County, where Gabby was supposedly last seen at, and 2 days later they confirmed that it was her body and the cause of death was by manual strangulation. The FBI continued the search for Brian, and on October 20th they found some human remains along with the backpack and the notebook that belonged to Brian in the area where he had been hiking. The next day, through dental records, they confirmed that it was Brian indeed, and they didn't come out with any cause of death. It was inconclusive. That area had been underwater for the previous days, so the forensics team said that if he had drowned, for example, there was no possible way for them to find out. They don't know if he committed suicide, if it was a homicide, if it was an accident. They don't know anything. This is all the information we have now. I have no idea what happened to Gabby. I have no idea what happened to Brian. I think his story is even more strange. But I truly believe that he killed her because he was very suspicious in the way he was acting, in the way he was reacting to the fact that his fiancée had not returned with him back from the trip. Everything is very confusing, and I hope we can solve this case as soon as possible. Thank you, and I'll see you on my next video.